Oh, I'm back.
My girl Ginger's back. That's what I was
back
going to say.
again. I'm Ginger.
I'm Dee, and this is Chattin' with CHAP.
Well, yes, I'm back after a crazy week, and Dee and Marianne did a fabulous job last week. Thank you for covering.
I loved having Marianne, but would love to have her with you, Ginger, because I missed my other half of Chatting with CHAP.
Well, it was a very fruitful week.
Yes.
Our show was fabulous.
Yay.
And so we're winging it this week because in all of my recovering from last weekend, I did not have time to do anything. But this is good because we're talking about the holiday season, which is super awesome fun.
And a little more relaxed, so we're just going to do Chat with CHAP
a little more relaxed. It'll be good. We'll chit-chat through some ideas and stuff.
Yeah.
So this is a great episode for all of you guys out there to share with us what you're doing.
Yes.
And everybody else, because
we love to share ideas.
We certainly do. And
we don't have to reinvent the wheel. There's so many ideas. So
there are, and you might hear about something that is like, wow, I love that. I really want to do that.
Yeah.
So here we go. So we're starting with Thanksgiving.
Which is next Thursday. So
next Thursday, not tomorrow.
Not tomorrow, but if you're going to implement some ideas, you might want to
think about it soon.
Start thinking about it.
So, I mean, Thanksgiving, we talk a lot about being thankful.
Yeah, but there's fun ways that you can incorporate that into homeschool day activity, or even on the day of Thanksgiving, you know, have a tablecloth that people can write what they're thankful for.
There's something that's fun with kids if they're really crafty, like draw a big paper tree or even a small paper tree, and then every leaf that they can glue on, like all the fall colors, you know, and then on every leaf you write down either someone or something that you're thankful for, and then glue it on your tree, and then you have this really cool little fall tree. Yeah. That's a fun way to do that.
Turkey feathers.
That's colorful turkey feathers.
Way to do it.
You know what? One of the things we used to do at Thanksgiving too that I always loved. Now, if you have a drama flair in your family, we used to make Native American outfits. We called them Indian outfits, but old sheet and paints or markers or whatever, and design it. And my kid would come up with names. One was morning sunrise or something like that. Autumn sunrise. I can't remember. It was stuff like that. It was really cute. Yeah. And then they would actually do their faces up too and make headbands, and they could do their own little feathers and stuff. And pilgrim outfits are a little bit more challenging.
A little bit.
Native American ones were more fun.
Now, I did have to admit to Ginger, I slacked a little when it came to Thanksgiving because we are a diehard hunting family. And, we all know the Monday after Thanksgiving, that's some serious stuff. So we would actually head north on the Wednesday or Thursday or Thanksgiving Day. We'd head north because, they have to get up there and they have to, scope out the land and things.
Check out the signs to see where all the deer have been. My family's a hunting family too, but they have they used to go camping up to camp in Potters County, but my grandma has a farm, so they actually hunt on their farm, so we don't have to travel
quite so far.
A little bit spoiled with that, but it was always. And I don't know if this is the case for all the schools district in Pennsylvania. Is it?
I don't know.
We have Monday off because we hunt.
I'll tell you, our family, we had Monday through about Thursday off of school that week. Now, did you also say you would read Psalm? Is it 136?
Psalm 136 is a really good thing to read. Now it's kind of long, but we read it one day before we ate dinner. Maybe you don't want to do that because dinner might get cold. But it's the one that says His love endures forever, and it says something else that's great about God and His love endures forever. So that was a really cool litany, if you want to use that word. Oh, what do you have, Pam?
Hunting starts on Saturday.
Yes, it does.
Sure does. I know. Trust me.
Already, they know. We're all ready for that.
My son's coming home from New York. He can't make it home until Friday. So we will have Thanksgiving here this year, but then we will be heading straight up first thing Friday as soon as he gets off the train. So
there you go.
Yeah.
Here we go.
So
get ready.
Also, we talked about the history and just incorporating a history lesson.
Oh yeah, anything with that, teaching the true history of Thanksgiving. There's so many good books. I didn't bring any of my Thanksgiving books along. I should have done that, but there's a number of them with the Sunlight curriculum that we use that is really good, and it explains all those things because that history is a little lost these days in some students. So it's always good to talk about, you know, the Mayflower and the Compact and all they suffered and how the Indians helped and Squanto and, you know, Massasoit and all those guys. So, yeah.
So that brings us to the Christmas holiday season. And I guess, you know, first things first, Advent, because it starts
December 1st.
So
Advent. Like
and
chop.
Like
it's really
so
short.
if you're doing anything, you need to
be prepared,
Yes.
be thinking ahead, because as soon as that's 3 days after Thanksgiving. So as soon as Thanksgiving is over, we're rolling into Advent. So
So what are some things you would do?
So, well, I like to do some kind of Advent calendar. We used to do an Advent wreath, but with children and candles, and I kind of got away from that. But last year, I bought Mary Ann's Advent Adventure. She wrote this about the Jesse tree. It's a devotional. You can get it on Amazon. I think she published it on Amazon, so she was here last week if you were watching.
Yeah, very cool.
This is her cool little book. And she has all these little devotions with it and these really great cut out pictures that come with it, that she has a whole thing where you can do like a stack up of boxes and put the little pictures in boxes. But I didn't have the boxes, so I just made a little wire tree and hung them on, so you can do whatever you want with it. But that's a cool devotion for Advent.
Yeah, one year we did Jesse tree, and we would we made the ornaments, and then at the time I think I had 4 children doing it. So I purchased a small tree, and they hung them on there, and then we gave them away as a gift. With the story of this is
cool.
what this is what each.
So they could pack up the ornaments and then do it again.
Yeah, this is what each ornament means, and so we would give it as a gift.
Cool.
So that was a good.
I like that.
Yeah, and then 2 books that I had used throughout the years was Jotham's Journey. We did that one, and then we also did Unwrapping the Greatest Gift.
Yes.
It's Ann Voskamp. We've done that one previously. So
yeah, any kind of devotions like that. It's a great family time. It's right. Advent is. I mean. It's like right there.
Yeah,
it's really cool. Another thing that I really like doing to mark the season is going to a live nativity.
Yes. Yeah.
That is great. Now here in Elizabethtown, there was one at Ed's Landscaping. I'm not sure if he's there, but Ed's Landscaping out on, that's 2:30, right?
Yeah.
On 2:30 would be a good one to go to. But Woodcrest Retreat in Ephrata has one. The dog is back. Here she is. Oh.
She really likes to be a part of Chattin With CHAP. We're going to have to get her a name. Love Jotham's Journey.
Yeah. So, so there's that. And then you know of one.
Yeah.
That one's not this year.
Yeah,
right?
there's one that's every other year up north, right outside of Wellsboro, which Wellsboro is a beautiful town.
It is. They really deck it out.
It really is.
Yeah.
But every other year, so it would not be this year because we were just there last year. At Three Springs Ministries, they have a phenomenal live nativity.
So,
but there's plenty you can find.
Check them out, look around. Those are really great ways to do that. And you stand outside for a while and you get cold, and then you have cocoa, and it's great.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
It's a lot of fun. Those are good.
Yeah,
good ways.
We would also, for us, we belong to a co-op that would meet on Fridays, and the Friday before Thanksgiving, it would be the last one until January. And so now that my children are older, there are assignments that carry on over the holiday, but when they were younger, there wouldn't be assignments. No. Then we would make it a special month, just in general. It wasn't always Christmas related, but it was something fun, something different. So movies, books, games, things like that. I always had specific books that I would read every single year. I read out loud The Bird's Christmas Carol. If you've never read it, please do. But I get to the very end. If anyone's ever read it, please tell me you do this too. I would get to the very end. I would get so choked up that I could barely read the last few pages, and my kids would be like, Mom!
What is going on?
And you know what? The same with The Best Christmas Pageant Ever. So
That's
every December, these 2 books got read in our house, and my youngest is 15. I think I might sit him down this year and read these 2.
Or maybe I'll sneak them.
Yeah,
I'll sneak them home with me today.
She can sneak them home because he's heard them. What he would say is a million times.
It's actually a million. But we watch the Greatest Christmas Pageant Ever every year.
Yes.
So there's a number of movies that we watch every year. One of the ones that I've watched, it's a little heavy for little ones, but I've always watched A Christmas Carol. Every once in a while I'll read it. And actually, the George C. Scott version of A Christmas Carol, the words they say comes right out of what Charles Dickens wrote, which is really cool. Because a lot of times they'll paraphrase or whatever. It is exactly what he wrote in there, which I thought was really, really cool. Because I had watched the movie way more than I had ever read it. And I read it and I was like, oh my goodness, look at this. That's really cool. So it's neat. It's a cool story. I like it. Yeah. I love the transformation. Yeah. So transformation stories are good.
Another thing we would do is we would play this way to Bethlehem, the Christmas game for the entire family. This is the Family Man, Todd Wilson.
Yeah.
We picked this up at our convention one year. Just a funny game to play. We would play it every year. We'd come home from church on Christmas Eve and, make hot chocolate and then sit down and play. And as my children got older, I had such a wide age range. It would be so much fun for my younger ones, and my older ones would be like, oh, Mom. But now looking back, it's a memory.
Yeah,
that's
great.
I think children remember tradition. You know, they remember it's
what
not
is it that we used to do?
Right. What is it that my family? Oh, my family always did this, or my family always did that. And so that game we always play every year. So.
We have oodles of Christmas movies, all kinds of different Christmas movies. So my rule when the kids were younger, I don't hold to it as well now, but when they were younger, it was like you can only watch Christmas movies. It's the Christmas season. We would watch Christmas movies, and then everyone would pick. Well, and Steve, the first one we always watch for the season is "It's a Wonderful Life." Always, Steve's like, "We're watching this one."
Yes.
And then Christmas Eve, we come home and see my family's love language for generations is food.
That's a lot of things.
Food. Mm-hmm. So we would come home from Christmas Eve and have this fun Christmas spread. Just stuff that we don't normally eat. It's not a meal, but it's snacks. And we would sit on the floor and watch a Christmas movie and then put everybody to bed. When I was a kid, my church had midnight service.
Wow.
Which, it was really late, but the memories. You think about the nostalgia and stuff. My word,
that was a tradition. So that was something you did.
It was, and we drove home. Turkey Hill was closed on Christmas morning. Okay. It's not anymore.
I was going to say you're dating yourself.
I am, and I'm so upset because that was the coolest thing. We drive by and go, look, Turkey Hill's closed. Yeah. It's Christmas Day.
Yeah. Oh, funny.
But anyway,
that's so funny.
Really cool.
Yeah. But talking about games, not only would we play that game, but I would get together with a neighbor who also homeschooled. So if you have a homeschool family that is close by, we would call it game day. And we would get together all day long, educational games. Our kids would play. We had them set up different places, and the kids had so much fun doing that. And
that's cool. I like that.
It was a fun.
I might have to do that one.
It was a fun way to count a day of school, And we had so many games at the time, and we had math games and history, and we just had so many different.
Even your standard games are good, though.
Yeah,
I mean, you could work with Monopoly. That's money. You could play with... Do you ever play Farkle? Farkle is dice, so you have to do a lot of adding with dice and stuff like that, or things like that. Or we have lots of strategy games. Yeah. So I consider that educational because you're thinking.
So you watch Rudolph and eat popcorn and cranberries
for a treat.
Oh, and string. I'm like, eat.
Eat. Wow, cranberries.
I need to really put the glasses that are on my head on my face.
So
that's awesome.
That's cool.
So fun.
I like that. Yes.
So
gingerbread house. I just thought this popped into my head. Gingerbread houses or gingerbread men or of course baking. We never even we didn't put that on our list.
Yeah, cookie baking. We sure did.
Yes.
And they're measuring. And
that's math and home ec and all that stuff. It's good to learn how to do those things.
Yeah. And often I would do a unit study over the month of December because, like I said, our co-op would take a break, so I would try to mix it up. I found some free ones online. If you do a little Googling, there is some really cool stuff out there. Yeah. I did one year. It was on white-tailed deer, so that was a pretty popular one. It was a good unit study. It was only enough material for a few weeks, which was perfect. And so mixing it. I always would mix it up in December.
That's good. So. I know a family that used to take off. I don't think they did schoolwork over the month of December because they spent the whole month creating things for Christmas, doing whether it was the homemade ornaments, or visiting people, or making cookies, or giving gifts, or serving, or whatever it is that they were doing. They would actually not do school work, paper and pencil work for like the whole month, and they would change it up in that way.
Yeah.
which is really cool.
And speaking of serving, December is a really good month to serve,
Yes.
although, we were talking, it really is something that should be on our hearts all year long with our families, but often we carve out a little more time for that, and so we would do Water Street Rescue Mission,
Visiting nursing homes.
singing Christmas carols, that's right. Operation Christmas Child, but we're kind of nearing it's this weekend, I think. The boxes are due. I don't know about
ours are due this week. I actually think Grace's churches were due last week, so it's a little tight for Operation Christmas Child, but that's a good one to do. And the kids really enjoy that too. I always have them help me do the shopping for that.
I always have this ongoing joke that you pick the age and the sex of the child, and like I would haul everybody in there on the Saturday before they were due on Sunday, and everybody would be like, "Do you have your age?" We'd start throwing stuff in the cart, and all of a sudden they'd see something that was really cool for a different age, and they'd be like, "No, I would rather do this." And then you're like, I would come home with like, I don't even know what we're doing here or who this is going to.
I did one year. I had stuff and I couldn't fit it in the boxes. I was like, oh my God, I can't make
crazy.
it fit.
Yeah, so but it's a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
Oh my goodness. You had this. Okay, Dee's family has done this one thing. She's going to tell you about that I love.
Yes.
I love it.
Okay, you can get the idea on Pinterest, so it was not original to me. There's several ideas on Pinterest. But we would do, I don't know if you call it Ding Dong Ditch. You would call it the secret mailman. We would, for the 12 days leading up to Christmas, we would choose a family each year. Oh, I hope none of the families are watching. Because this to this day is still a secret for some people. They still never figured out it was us. But you can go on Pinterest. You can actually print out the instructions and like the tag to actually stick to the gift. So the work's been done for you. You don't have to be all creative because I'm not. So I would print out these 12 tags. I would purchase the gifts that you need for these. And some are a little more extravagant and some are just really simple. And you would attach the tag to the gift. You would pull up to the house. Whichever child's turn it was jumps out of the car, goes and throws the gift on the porch, rings the bell.
Maybe not throw it.
And then takes off running. And some houses are so easy to get away from, and some, it's like this big, expanse, open area. And you're just thinking, because they'll recognize your car. So you're like trying to hide your car, and your kid's dressed in black. And I mean, it was so much fun. And I had someone who would post who is doing this? Like, they never figured it out. And then we had someone else who thought they figured it out, but they were wrong. It was such a memory. I was telling Ginger, I'm embarrassed to say there were times I would tear off and I'd look and the door's still open. I'm so thankful I never lost it.
That's why children escaping from their secret mailman escapade.
Yes, but it is so much fun. Choose a family who maybe just needs some encouragement. Yeah. Or someone with a lot of little ones. Like that's, and then one year, I was feeling a little overwhelmed by the everyday thing because you do have to commit to every night being around and dropping off this gift, I took a box and it was sectioned. It was like, it was a wine box that I went and asked the liquor store for because it needed to be sectioned and it had 12. And so I put 12 little gifts. I covered it with tissue paper and numbered them so they could punch out a gift. So I only had to drop it off one time. I said, your secret mailman's very busy this year.
Yeah.
So I'm dropping this, but for 12 days you can punch out and pull out a little
that is
something.
Cool.
So that was fun. Now that one, it didn't have any creative tags or anything because I knew they had a few small children, boys and girls. So I put, we just put some candy or, one had little cars and something else for the girls, and so it just, I miss doing that.
Fun.
I miss doing that.
I like that.
Yeah.
Maybe we're going to create a new ministry at the church called Secret Mailman. And
Ding Dong Ditch. Ring the bell and run for your life.
I love it. That is so great. That pretty much wraps it up. I mean, we talked about homemade ornaments. If you're looking for gifts and ways to get your kids involved and ways that they can give to people, doing homemade ornaments are great. And sometimes, like for me, I went through I don't know if this happens to you, but people know I'm a homeschooler, so they just give me stuff. Here, could you use this? Here, could you use this? Here, could you? So you get all this crazy stuff. and like these little plastic containers I have, and I'm like, what am I going to do with all these little plastic clear containers? Well, my girls like decorate them. We have all these little sticker things. They decorate them and put felt on them or whatever, and then they'll as little containers and just give them as a container to use, or they'll put stuff in it and then give that. So that's really
it is.
Little gifty ideas.
Yeah.
Oh, paper chains too.
Yes.
My kids love doing the countdown paper chain.
That's right.
That's a great way to practice counting.
It sure
You
is.
do that
And
colors
patterns.
patterns.
Yeah.
Do a color pattern on your chain, and then they can rip them off as they need to. So those are.
I mean, here's the
fun things to
thing.
do.
The important thing is that you're spending time as a family,
Mm-hmm.
and that time together, you're loving on other people, you're serving other people, because we've been given the greatest gift
Yes.
of
yes.
Jesus, and so that's school, that's education, that's
and sharing that joy with others.
yes, that's right, and it's
That's
it's building your family relationships,
Mhm.
and I know it's easy to get caught up in the am I doing enough, or am I covering all the
Am I
subjects?
doing the law? Am I following the law?
But so many of these things we mentioned today, they are educational, and you can incorporate different things. And but the important thing is that you, as a family, are together and serving together and remembering the reason for this season, and making it special, so that your family looks back and remembers those special things you did.
I think a lot of those things too, all that relationship building and stuff, is going to serve them better in their future, and it's growing into maturity and being responsible adults and stuff, and showing how you care for others and how you care for each other in your house, especially when sometimes it's like but just that it's important to take special time to share how special others are.
Yes.
And especially Jesus, and what Jesus has done for us, and that it's just a wonderful time of sharing and gifts.
It sure
and
is.
Stuff like that.
It sure is. So we just encourage you to take this holiday season and make your homeschool special. Yeah,
Different.
and it doesn't have to be
Yeah.
expensive or complicated,
No.
but just mix it up a little bit. We gave you a lot of ideas. Even if you just take one of them and just incorporate it, start a tradition. Your children will love that.
Yeah, it'll be cool.
Yeah.
Yay.
Yay. Well,
All right.
this
So this
has
has
been Chattin' with Chap. We'll see you next week.
next Wednesday.